I think you're carrying way too much.
Maybe I overdo it.
Yep.
There is something you should know.
Encanto 2 is happening whether people agree with the idea or not, and honestly, I'm hoping the sequel fixes a major issue from Disney's 2021 movie, because Bruno deserved way better than what he got the first time around. There have also been some new updates from Disney's side, and with a bunch of rumored storylines already circulating, it makes sense to go through everything we think we know about the second movie. So it's only fitting to start with the biggest point. Encanto 2 needs to correct the huge Bruno injustice from the original film. Encanto left plenty of room to follow up on Bruno's arc because the first movie skipped over one of the biggest opportunities it had with him. The entire story takes place in Colombia, beginning with Alma Madrigal fleeing conflict with her husband and young children. After she loses her husband, the magic candle she carries creates the safe, enchanted space that becomes the casita and gives the Madrigal children their magical gifts. That setup made the family dynamic rich and emotional, so it's no surprise people connected deeply with characters like Bruno. Bruno stands out as one of the most memorable and tragic characters in the entire Madrigal family. As one of Alma's original 3 children, he receives his power early on, his ability to see the future. But instead of this gift bringing him closer to the family, it becomes the reason he's pushed aside, avoided, and even treated like a walking disaster. We Don't Talk About Bruno, which explains how everyone sees him, quickly became the film's biggest hit, dominating charts in both the US and the UK for weeks. Even though that song made Bruno iconic, the movie still never gave him the personal spotlight he deserved. It almost feels unbelievable that Bruno never got his own solo song, especially when his introduction and the legend surrounding him were built up so well. We Don't Talk About Bruno isn't sung by Bruno himself. Instead, the villagers and his family talking about how his visions freaked them out because they always came true. Since the song focuses on their perspective, Bruno never gets the chance to explain how he feels about being misunderstood or blamed. Even when he appears later in the film, he barely gets the platform to open up about his past or the emotional toll of his ability. Mirabel relates to Bruno because she also feels left out, even though her situation is completely different. But even with that connection, the movie still avoids giving Bruno a proper emotional moment where he stands front and center. The closest he gets is joining in on All of You, although that song features nearly the entire family, so it still doesn't count as a real solo. Considering how much hype the story built around him, almost turning him into a spooky myth, it's surprising that the writers didn't give him a chance to sing his version of events. It's even more surprising when you remember that John Leguizamo is capable of powerhouse vocals because he's proven that in projects like Moulin Rouge or even in comedic performances like Sid's sing-along in Ice Age. Encanto 2 easily has the space to make up for that missed opportunity because Bruno is the type of character who can inspire a strong emotional song. His backstory is layered, and even though he's accepted at the end of the first movie, it's obvious his transition back into the family life wouldn't be simple. He spent years hiding inside the walls of Casita with nothing but rats to keep him company, so the psychological toll is something the sequel could dig deeper into. Dolores even mentions in the original song how heavy his gift feels, which shows how much room there is to explore that inner struggle. A Bruno solo in Encanto 2 could reflect the tense, anxious tone of his visions because his power has always felt more like a burden than a blessing. A darker or more dramatic musical style could work, maybe with repetitive or intense rhythms that mirror the feeling of being trapped by what he sees. Even a more epic sound, something with strong choral sections or bold brass, could show the weight of knowing the future while being powerless to stop it. Since Disney hasn't had massive soundtrack success recently, especially after the underwhelming reception to Wish and Moana 2, Bruno's song could be the perfect moment to regain that momentum. Then there's the other part of the excitement surrounding Encanto 2, the rumored storylines and theories. One of the biggest theories is that Mirabel might become the new head of the family. It's an idea that spread quickly after the first movie because there are several parallels between Mirabel and Abuela Alma. They're both madrigals without magical gifts, which doesn't feel accidental. They both act as caretakers in their own way, grounding the rest of the family emotionally. And they're also the only two who can communicate directly with Casita, which makes Mirabel's connection to the house especially meaningful. In the first movie, Alma is the family's protector, but when everything falls apart, it's Mirabel who steps up, brings the family back together, and helps restore their magic. She's also the person who places the final doorknob on the rebuilt casita, which seems like a clear hint toward her future role. Because of that, Encanto 2 could easily show her stepping into the position of a candle holder as a rite of passage. That could also be the moment where she finally gains her own powers, whether through inheritance, magic transfer, or a major emotional turning point. A darker possibility many fans consider is the idea that Encanto 2 might include Alma's death. Disney has a long history of emotional character deaths that push the story forward, and since the Madrigals originally got their powers due to a loss, people wonder whether another loss might spark a new miracle. If Mirabel were to inherit the candle or receive powers immediately after Alma's passing, that would mirror the history of the family. Instead of building a room of her own, she could even take Alma's place both symbolically and literally. Another widely discussed idea is that Mirabel already has powers and the sequel might confirm them. Her ability to communicate with Casita and her deep love for her family could be her natural gifts. While that interpretation is sweet, Encanto 2 could still take things further and give her something more defined. Some theories imagine her gaining a gift through personal growth, almost like a reward for her emotional strength. Bruno could even have a vision about her future miracle, creating another major story arc. If the sequel goes this route, Mirabel might have to prove herself through a challenge, journey, or ritual that unlocks her abilities. She could be asked to solve a problem tied to the origins of the miracle, or she might need to find a relic or symbol connected to the family's past. That kind of quest would fit perfectly in a sequel because it would expand the world without undoing the original movie's emotional message. With all these theories floating around, Encanto 2 has plenty of room to grow its story while fixing what the first movie overlooked. Bruno deserves his moment to speak for himself, and Mirabel's future within the family has endless potential. Because Disney already set the emotional foundation in the first movie, the sequel can go deeper into themes like identity, legacy, and the pressure of carrying a miracle. So Encanto 2 has the chance to correct a bunch of missed opportunities while building on everything fans already love. And that's all I've got to say about the project for now. If you want us to dive deeper into this or any other upcoming projects, hit that like and subscribe so you can stay in the loop for the next video. I'll be covering all kinds of updates on your favorite series and movies, so stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one.